Welcome back to Copperhead Customs, and today we're back on this, our 1928 Oakland. See what we do today? You might want to stick around. So yes, as stated, this is our rare as 1928 Oakland, and as you can see, it is a beautiful looking car. And if you're new, we'll do a little quick recap of what we've done to this and where it's come from. And it started off as a cab, doors, guards, and a chassis, and that was about it. And since then, we've done a ton of work on it. We've made all the back section of the cab, all the tray, boxed in all the chassis. It's running a Ford 302 Cleveland. We got this cool as brass grille. Not really sure what it come from. We made this crocodile leather interior from an old couch. We got a wooden hard lid from an old workbench. So as you can see all over, we've done a ton of fairly unique looking parts on this build, and it's come a long way. So that's just a quick rundown of a few of the cool parts on the build. But there's a ton more, but you'll just have to experience them through the videos. So, what are we going to do today, I'm hearing you ask, and that's probably because you're sick of me talking. Well, you've got to put up with it a little bit longer. Last week, we did the center console down there out of the number plates, and we also did this spare wheel using a Holden Commodore Space Saver, painted it all up, and used a stainless steel saucepan lid as the hubcap. Yeah, but what are you doing today? Well, what we're doing today is one of our subscribers left me a comment in last week's video, which was one of the most awesome ideas that I've heard in a long time, and it was to continue on doing some more stuff to this spare wheel. So today's plan is that we're going to make a wooden cover for the inside of the wheel, and inside that cover we're going to have all of our jack and jack handle. But we're not just going to throw them in there loosely. No, we're not. So the plan is, if it all works, we're going to basically shoot foam in with all the tools so they look like something you'd buy from the shop. So it sounds simple. It's probably go pear-shaped. So stick around, see how I do it, and if I pull it off. Okay, so first job will be we'll undo our couple of nuts here, pull our top sleeve off and get the wheel out, and then get it on some stands. Now, what we did was our saucepan lid has a bolt running through it. If we look on the inside there, and I just had a little plate bracket there. So what my plan will be first, once we've got that off, is we'll find some wood. Now, I think what we'll do, we've got two choices with the wood. We could either try to see if we can find a single piece of something like this. I don't know if I've got any lying around or not. Or we could do it out of slats. Now, I know I've definitely got slat wood lying around. So we'll just see what we've got. The plan will be to basically cut a disc out of the wood that will fit in here. So whether we go onto this lip or whether we go onto the next lip, we'll have to work that out. But we'll basically make a disc out. I think we'll do a couple of decorative little spadey type pieces on the inside as well to follow that theme through. And if we have one of them in the center, we'll basically get a long bolt that will go through the whole lot. And that's so when we bolt the hubcap on, we'll actually also go straight through the back of our wood, if that makes sense, and we'll hold the whole lot together like a little sandwich. Now that can all get done off the car, and then the wheel just slid into place. Then the plan will be that we will tape up all the bolt holes and the center hole of the wheel and anything that may be a grabber. So we'll tape all that up. We're going to line the wheel in plastic on the inside, okay? So we'll fully line the wheel in plastic. Then on the back of our piece of wood, we're going to find just a little scissor jack. There should be should be a few laying around here from the Suzuki's. And then we'll need the little winder for that, and a wheel brace, and etc. So we'll find all the tools that we're going to have in there. And I think we'll tie or screw them temporarily down to the piece of wood, the way they're going to go into the wheel. And we will also line all of that in plastic. Now the reason we're going to line all this stuff in plastic is because then we're basically going to shoot, this is what my idea is, we're going to shoot expander foam in there, and it can all go around and go into all the nooks and crannies, and basically it should then, when it's set, we should be able to pull it apart and basically have our jack that we can just drop in. So it will kind of be like a toolbox foam insert, but we'll do it out of expander foam. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. We'll have to go to town to get the expander foam. That's sort of what my plan is. We'll peel all the plastic off. We'll probably shoot a little bit of black paint on the expander foam. Hopefully it all works. Just a little misting so it looks a bit nicer. Then I think we're also going to paint the inside of the rim chrome. Not that anyone will ever see it. And then on the wood, we will have a couple of these, like I said, at least one in the center, but maybe if we do multiple pieces, we may have 2 or 3 of them on. I may look at maybe engraving a bit of a, whether we did the whole logo or just the head or something. So we may look at doing that on the inside just as another little tricky little piece. I think that may look pretty cool, hey? That when you were sort of here looking, seeing this wood and then you've seen the snake emblem on there like that, made like, that's the sort of, I don't know, that's some pretty trick stuff. So if you haven't seen us do that, what happens here is we basically use a die grind in our logo into the wood, burn it, and then we varnish it all. So I think, so that's not black paint, that's actually been burnt in and then varnished over the top. So I'm thinking we're going to do something like that. On the inside, we'll then varnish it all up, get a nice bolt it all together. That's what my head's thinking. Whether it all works, we don't know. So this is what we're going to try. Can't say I've ever seen it done. Probably someone has, but can't say personally I've ever seen anyone do it. So it's another one of those things that you get here is a bit of uniqueness. And hopefully it will look cool, be very functional, and at the end of the day, when you're looking at the car, say we're at a car show or whatever, it's at the car park and you're just standing here looking at the car and you'll just see this nice little trick piece of wood on the inside of that rim. I think that will look nice. And then we'll probably, like I said, we'll paint the rim chrome, so we'll have the little chrome edge. We have this nice looking bit of wood, just like to match in with all the wood around the place with the logo on. Should look really trick. And then no one will actually know, but inside is all of our jack and wheel brace. Oakley dokley. So this is what we've gone and dug out. So we've got our little scissor jack here, and we'll give this a clean up, and that will sort of sit like that, like I said, up onto the wood so it can come in and out easily. All right, so we've got that. And then in this bag here, we actually have a wheel brace and like a hook thing that hooks into here with like a screwdriver end to get the hubcaps off, and the wheel brace hooks into that to use to wind this up. Now the wheel brace is not, now we haven't got our finalised nuts on here, so we're not exactly sure what size nuts we're going to have, but the wheel brace is probably for like a 17 mil nut, and the ones on there are basically a 21 mil approximately. All right, so what we're going to do is, I think this will be a good idea anyway. We've got this long socket, it's a 13/16, but we'll just buy one that suits our nuts later, but we'll put a long socket in, then we don't need an extension. And I think we'll put it in with a breaker bar. Now I've got a fair few breaker bars laying around, so whether we buy another one or just use one of the several I've got. I do have quite a few of them kicking around. So I think we'll make it so we have a breaker bar in it, and we have this socket in it in here as well, so they will all fit on the inside easily. And that will give us like basically a screwdriver, the jack handles, and a decent breaker bar, etc. Okay, so I think that's what we'll do. So I think now our next step is we'll grab our wood that we're going to use. I think I'm going to use slats. So we'll grab our slat wood and we'll start working out where to cut them. oakley dokley. So this is our little piece. Now, we haven't finished it yet, of course. We've still got to neaten up the outer circle. It's probably got to come in a couple of mil, and then we'll do a bit more, you know, sanding of the sides and everything. But we've got, this centerpiece was actually a bit fatter. We did that deliberately for the strength, for the bolt, see? So I ummed and hard about how I wanted to look, whether to put the metal, pieces of metal on it, or what to do with the snake heads and all of this stuff. So we're still going to do the snake. I'm pretty sure we'll do the logo, whether we do the whole logo or at least just the head. And through here we'll have I think we'll just do probably just like maybe a big plate washer, and paint it like brown, dark brown or something. And on the back we'll probably put some more screws in here, but we just put that piece through there to hold them all together. Instead of using the metal, I did it with a piece of wood from the back. Now I thought that was a better way for the looks department, because the metal was going to interfere with the snake. Now this will work, that this piece of wood here will actually run through the center section. So where we bolt, we'll have a double thickness. Now this isn't cut to sizes yet, like I said, because that's going to sit down in that bottom lip, down in there. But you should be able to basically get the gist of how we're doing it. So like I've said, we've just got to grind up this edge now to get that to drop in. Then when we've got that in and we're happy, we'll then pull it out and we'll put all our jack and everything onto this, and screw it, tape it, whatever is going to work. And then, like I said, we'll wrap that in plastic, and then we'll wrap the wheel in plastic. We'll shoot the foam. We should be able to like just maybe shoot the foam through these two holes here, hopefully. Maybe we'll shoot a bit in that side first and shoot it in there. And we're probably just going to have to hold that while it all expands. We will need to try to pull this off in one shot, because otherwise we're going to have, if we have too much, it's going to be a mess, and it's probably going to lift this, which could be an issue. If we don't put enough in, we're going to have all these air holes, and it will be no good either. So we're getting there. Like I said, we just rustic this up. Now, for those of you who are woodwork people, you will hate what I do. So that was just done with a flat disc on a grinder. That was an old worn out one. Hence, we'll go a bit more. Now you can see our little screw holes, but we'll just dab a bit of brown paint on them, and you won't even notice them when we're finished. And like I've said, we're going to burn our logo in onto this as well, guys. So it's going to look pretty cool. And the outside, like I've said, we've got to grind all that down, and then we'll round it all so it looks rustic. And as you can see, these were actually pieces of wood from original old antique pieces of wood from one of the wrecks we've picked up from the paddocks, you know. They have the old trays that are worn out, but I grabbed the wood just for this to do little bits with. So okay, so we are back. This is what we got. We got a pack of flap discs. Yes, we've got 40 grits, so they're going to get in, rip into it. So we've got these two. These are the longest bolts we could get. 2 stainless bolts with the dome head. See, I wanted the dome head. I could have just bought some all thread, but I wanted to have the dome head. Now we've got 2 flat washers. So what we've also got is a joining nut. Now it's not stainless, but so what we can do is screw that in there. We can cut the end off of this, and we will then have a really long bolt with the join nut. Maybe put some Loctite or something, or maybe even another nut and lock it down. We bought a wing nut, and I bought a dome headed nut. Okay, so I'm not sure which one we'll use at this stage. The dome headed nut will need a shifter, of course. It'll probably look pretty trick. The wing nut probably won't look as nice, but it is a wing nut, isn't it? So you think we could have got a smaller can of expander foam. So it's $30 for the expander foam. So that kind of sucks a bit, but we're going to use hardly any of that. And I think it does stuff up. So I think our next step is that we'll get a new flap disc on, and we'll start working our outer edge to get that to sit inside our wheel correctly. So if that's what we'll do now, and we'll pretty all that up. dokely, we haven't done a real lot, but we've done a little bit off of the camera because the batteries went flat, and the work can't stop because the batteries go flat, can they? So anyway, you've seen most of it. Yeah, last thing I think you've seen was me taping and screwing the tools to the back of the piece of wood, and you would have also seen that I die grinded, I sanded all the wood nice, die grinded the logo in, burnt it, and then sanded it back, the burn back, and as you might have seen, it looks pretty nice. So we then taped all of the tools to the back of it. We got some plastic and lined the inside of the wheel and the back underneath there, and we shot it with expander foam. As you can see, it's all sticking out now. I don't know, I used the whole tube in there anyway. Where that's oozed out is where I actually shoved it in that little hole and sprayed some extra in. It is expanding. I don't know. We have no idea if it's going to work. As you can see, it's not sticky, but it hasn't finished setting as yet. It's been, I don't know, it's been a while. I've been tidying up the tools and all sorts. It's now obviously pitch black. So we did that. It's been going for a few hours. So I don't know how long that takes to dry, but we're going to have to wait till the morning now to see if it's going to turn out. I'm a little bit skeptical, but I think it may be okay. We've stuck some bricks on it just so it won't actually lift it out. So it's not really expanding anymore, I don't think. It's done all its expansion. It now just has to set, and the only bit on our timber is just there. That's the little bit of where the hole was. All the rest is on plastic. So when we take it all apart, hopefully we can pull it apart, and then we'll have to trim all that off, and who knows? Fingers crossed it's going to work. If not, we've just made a beautiful looking wooden cover for the inside of the wheel. And I think that would have been probably one of the best logos I did, because of the fact that I could actually maneuver the timber around and get to the exact right angle for the die grinder. Oakley dokely, well, it is the next day, and what do we think? Do we think it's going to have worked? We'll quickly just pull these bricks off and put them down there, and we'll have a little look-ski. Oh, it's sticky stuff, isn't it? So, as you can see, it's hard, so that's a good sign. Now, I'm a little bit scared, to tell you the truth, of how we're going to do this. What I think we'll do is I'll put you on the tripod so I can use two hands. Okay, now what I do think is, obviously the plastic is going to be stuck to it, so we're going to have to somehow address a bit of that, how we're going to get that off. But first, let's just try to get it out. That's still all wet in there. It hasn't gone off. What the? It hasn't freaking gone off, guys. Is it because it's sealed up? Man, I think we've made a meal of this. I think we've stuffed it. Alright, let me have a bit of a play and we'll come back. We're either going to have to let this sit for days, or it's a big fail. Okay, that was an epic fail. So there's we've pulled it off. It's been sitting outside. It's now early afternoon. Been in the sun all morning, so we're close to we're over 20 hours, nearly 24 hours. It says it can take 24 hours to set, but look, we've just pulled the top off. It's like, it hasn't even expanded. It's like, if anything, it's shrunk back down, and look at it, it's all, it's like a big soggy, it hasn't done nothing. It's shrunk. The expanding's shrunk. So I think maybe because it's like sealed up, or maybe because I don't know, because we had it wrapped in the plastic top and bottom, it's just didn't work. But yeah, so not really sure. Now obviously you need the plastic on the bottom. You would think it would work, but obviously it's not getting the air. Yeah, so our only option would be, I suppose, we could try and just wrap the parts in plastic. Would be our only option, would be to fill this up with foam maybe we do it in lesser amounts and build it up and make them, do it in layers. And then when we get it to a point, we have the part wrapped in plastic and we just shove it in there so it's still copping air, and we don't have the lid and we don't have the whole top wrapped in plastic, and then it's sealed over. So basically that's sealed over, and then it oozed up the sides a bit and then sealed all of that in. So obviously it needs to react with the air to set. So yeah, that was a fail. It could have sat there for another 3 days, it still wouldn't have gone off, and it had already shrunk. So when I popped the lid up, it wasn't going to do anything. So we've got two choices now. We either go buy another batch of that at $30 something, or we have a little hunt. Give us 2 seconds, I'll see if I've got one. Okay, so we have, like I said, two options. So this is something I prepared before. So this is actually this was a cushion that I pulled the foam out, and this is actually the insert. So this is what we were trying to make, basically. This is the insert out of a Suzuki Swift Sport that has the jack and the handle. Now obviously that's going to be too big. What I'm getting at is we could potentially use a piece of this, cut this up, and use a bit of that, maybe, to fill it in with a bit of, I don't know, that's a possibility. Or we actually just grab some foam. Now I've got some here that have got a bit of a harder, like a backing on them. I've got some other ones out the back. Do we just put pieces of foam in and maybe just try to cut our shapes out for our parts? I'm a bit bummed by that. That was meant to work, eh? I honestly think if you want to try that with the spanner foam, I think it could work. I think I stuffed up, like I said, by sealing top and bottom. I think if you just shove the expander foam in the wheel, like they had the wheel wrapped in plastic, shove the expanding foam in there so it fitted in nice, maybe did it in a few goes to build it up, and then as it was starting to expand, dropped your parts in and had your parts wrapped in plastic and just dropped them in where you wanted them and just let it all expand up. Then you'd have to come in and cut the top off to expose all your parts again. I think if you did that, it might be like a treasure hunt to find some of them because they might sink, but I think if you did it that way, you might even have to have them hanging, set it up so they were hanging in there. If you did it that way, I think it would work. We'll try this, and if I'm having no success with this, we're going to have to quickly go into town and quickly get another tube. We'll see. We've got to get this finished. Okay, well, we've made a huge mess and have had not much success. Really? We've chopped and we chopped all that up and ruined it, and it was no good, and this is us. So we've got it in there. So what we've done, it's a bit rough, guys, so I think we're going to redo it at a later date. But we've got a piece of foam on the bottom, and we've then got this other piece of foam that we've just contact adhesived onto the bottom piece, and this one's notched. So it's holding them, but really it's a little bit ugly. So I think it's okay, and there's our piece of wood. So it sits down there, it gets it nice and tight. It's not really what I was wanting, but it is what it is. I think we will have another attempt later down the track, maybe with the foam. We'll do some tests on that with the expander foam. We might buy a different brand one and do like I said. We might set it up so that we sort of hang the pieces in a bit or something. Or it is doing what we want. The tools aren't going to rattle, and we've got our nice cover. So this is, it's going to work. It's just when you pull up on the side of the road, I would have liked this to have been all really nice and solid and like what that was is what I would have liked. And I think we can probably get that result with the expander foam if we do it correctly. So Dokley, I have come up with an idea. But before we get to that, as you can see, we've painted the inside of the wheel with the chrome paint, and seriously, when you use the black base, that chrome paint does come up not too bad. That actually looks pretty good. like, it doesn't look the same as that, but it actually isn't bad, I must say. I don't mind, it nearly looks a bit alloy-ish or something, I don't know, but I think that looks okay. Any rate, we also drilled our hole in the centre of this, and we gave this a red oak stain, and we've given it 1 coat of varnish. Now, we're going to hold off on giving it any more, because, why? Why do you say? Well, this here, down here, I'm not happy at all. I went inside, I was not happy thinking about it, and I do not like it. It's crap, honestly. I'm not happy with that, okay? Now, obviously, what was in my head didn't go to plan, and that is maybe through my execution, I think. Like I've said, I think because we had it plastic both sides, we basically sealed it. It expanded a bit and sealed the gap, and basically didn't let the air in to let it work, okay? So could that work? Yes, I think it could potentially work, okay? I was just looking at something out the corner of my eye, sorry. But what I've come up with now is, this is what I'm thinking. So it's not what we originally were going to do, but what we've got is, we've got our 2 tools in the bag, and in that bag we could potentially throw a couple of other little things in there as well. You know, like a little shifter or a little socket handle or a socket as well, or whatever, okay? And we've got our little jack, okay? Now, if we remember, when we were setting that up, we actually had the jack screwed to the underside of the wood, and it worked pretty well. So what I'm thinking is, this is a piece of, pretty sure this is stainless. So what I'm going to do is, because I think you'll see that our joiner of our little wooden disc is vertical, which means that our jack will actually be in there vertical. I think you're probably working out where I'm going now. I'm going to fold up a little bit of this, boom, up, across, down, boom. I'm going to fold a little thing up, screw it to the timber on the underside, and the jack will come in and just slide into it and be sitting there like that, boom, okay? And then we'll do the same sort of thing for the bag. We'll do a little boom, 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 boom. We might even have another little tape or something, I don't know. I think we'll just and have it in there tied or something, and we'll slide our little bag through. And they can just be sitting underneath the wood, and then the wood just drops in. I think that's going to work, and I think I'll actually be happy with it, because at the moment I'm not happy with that foam idea. But I think this will work. They won't rattle around. It'll be neat, and it'll give me the result I wanted. Okay, so that's what I'm going to quickly knock that up and see what we think. Oakley dokley. So we may have some success. Okay, so this is what, we're just going to touch up our varnish a bit there, but this is what we have done, is this. So we've folded up a piece of stainless, and it has a little notch in there as well. I don't know if you can see that. But anyway, it's got a little notch so that it can't really fall. And now remember, this will be vertical, like just as it is. And we've got this other bit of stainless here. I just had it in, so it actually looks like in the center there. It must touch the bottom, but that's okay. So in there's our couple of tools, and there's our jack. So that will sit if we come up here now, basically that's going to sit like this, straight up and down, and hopefully I've got the wheel the right way. So I think that's the bottom, and that goes in there. Now, it's obviously a lot easier with two hands. Okay, so there it is. I just had to do that off camera for 5 seconds just to get it lined up nicely. Now that's pretty well there. We've just got to throw our bolt through with our flat washer, and we'll put a nylock, and I think we'll put a dome on just to look nice. We'll cut the thread off, pull that in nice and tight. Before we throw it on the car though, I'm going to give it one quick more coat, because we've been touching it and it's still a bit wet, and we've got to touch these little bits up. So we'll give it one quick coat, and then I'll get it in, get it all done back up, and we'll come back and have a little look-ski at it. Okay, done. D-U-N. Done. So from here it doesn't look any different. You know what is good though is we got some marks on our white wall. And it looks a bit dirtier, and there's a couple little black marks. And I think that actually helps us. It doesn't look... It looked a bit fake because it was so white and shiny, I think. So having a few little marks on there, I think sort of works. Any rate, if we come around here now, I think that looks pretty... You can hardly even see it. This is going to be one of those... what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be one of those hidden little features, I think this one will be. We'll grab a light. Oh yes, so like I was saying, this will be like one of those little hidden features that you won't even see. Most people won't even notice it. But if you're sitting at a car show or something, you might, someone will go, hey, check that out. Like, someone will spot it. So there it is. It's pretty trick. We've got our logo hidden. I think really it's very, very hard for anyone to spot what's going on in there. But we've got our logo engraved in the wood. Nice wooden piece. Chrome rim. It's just a little finishing off little piece. So like I've said, no one's even going to hardly ever see this other than me and you are going to know about it. But someone will be at a car show one day looking around at it properly, looking at all this, and they'll look in and see that, and they'll go, what is that? Now, outside it will probably show up better than it is in here, but just one of those little finishing off pieces. And then, he'll say to his mate, hey, have a look in there, check that out. There's a wooden lid on that and it's engraved. How cool's that? And no one will actually even know that inside there is also our jack and our tools, and that is fake chrome paint. So yeah, now that rim looks, from here you can just see that little chrome. It actually looks chrome. I'm actually pretty chuffed with this whole thing that we've done on the wheel. This has cost us absolutely nothing to do this whole scenario. Last week, as you're seeing, we did the space saver that we got for free, and the saucepan lid for 50 cents, and a little tiny bit of paint. And then today, or in this episode, we've done this wooden jack holder cover arrangement, which, what did I buy? I bought a bolt. I think it was about $1.20 or something. The wood we had lying around, and all the varnishes we had lying around, everything. So the jack and the tools we had lying around. So, it cost us nothing. But these are the little jobs that you do with these builds. So it's just like I said, it's just like a little finishing off, little hidden little details. I know it's there. You guys know it's there. I think it's cool as, especially with the logo. So hopefully you guys. So drop your comments on what you think of that. It did go completely pear-shaped on us with the expanding foam. But like I've said, I've never seen it done. So it's all trial and error. And, we're not going to hide it. That didn't work. Maybe you could get it to work. Like I said, I think if you didn't seal it up with plastic, you would get it to work doing that. But, you now know what not to do. So, but in the end, the little stainless metal holders work a treat. So, and like I've said, the jack is in there vertical. So they're not going to bounce out. They're not going to rattle around. They're in there tight. Well, the wheel doesn't move, but see, there's no noise from the tools. So I think that's pretty cool. What I would also like is an opinion on this. Okay, guys, have a look at it. I am seriously contemplating changing the colour. So I'd like some opinions of what you guys think. We're still going to have it patinaed. I still think we should maybe run the black guards and maybe the black chassis covers will stay black. But I am, and then all of our metalwork will stay black. But I'm humming and hawing about changing the colour on the bonnet, the cab, the doors, this section, and the back section. So there's a few different colours. Something vintage is what I'm thinking. Maybe like a, you know, like the baby yellow, or the peppermint greens, or, you know, a grey. I don't know. We could even change the wheel colour if we had to as well. But I'd like some comments on what you guys think. Remembering, we can do the colour changes on this really easily. Just brush and roll it, then we'll sand back through, and then, you know, if we don't like it, we'll just give it another coat of something else. But I think it does look really good in black. But I have been humming and hawing about changing the colour. Now, the original picture in my head for this car was, I had two pictures. One was peppermint green with the darker green guards and stuff. But I could never mix the colours correctly to get it where I was happy. The other option was, like I said, the yellow and black, or the yellow and like a brown for the two-tone, or even a yellow with cream. So, I don't know. It does look cool black, and something we could also leave is we could leave this body line in black, or we could leave that in if we two-tone it in the darker colour or whatever. So just drop some comments on it, what you think, if you like it in black, if you think we should maybe head down the track of giving it another coat of paint. And, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, if we don't like it, we can always paint the black back over it, and then when we sand through, we've got an extra colour just to make it look even better. But with all of that said, this one is pretty short, sharp and shiny this week. Little easy job. We're trying really hard to get onto that Bedford. Hopefully we will get onto it this week. I will definitely get on to it this week. Whether I'll have a video ready for next week on that, we'll see how we go. But it will definitely, 100%, if it's not next week, it's the week after, the Bedford is back on the channel. We've still got lots happening. We've got a tiny little job to do on this Chrysler, which if you follow the channel, you would have seen we did a full rebuild on that, and the boss kept it, has decided she kept it. So we're just doing one final little thing on that. Take me half a day tomorrow. That car should then, fingers crossed, be absolutely perfect. Fingers crossed. It does have a little noise in the back, so I'm hoping that what I'm about to do fixes it and it's not the diff center. But anyway, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. And I do have my little Suzuki Swift Daily that I'm going to do a quick a couple of little jobs on it to pretty it up, and there's a few things I want to do, and like, you know, so whether we put that out in a video. And there, I think the only other things we have, we've got a big issue with the DeSoto. You're going to have to stick around and wait for that one. But our DeSoto is in a million pieces. The motor locked. So you'll have to just find out what happened there. But that's going to be a bit down the track. It's going to take me a few weeks to fix that. So yes, these two little jobs. Then the Bedford comes from that bay over to this bay. And we can start on that. And once that happens, then we can start our new build as well. So there's always something happening here. Lots happening. So with all of that said, I will say thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.